Good evening, everybody. Obviously, normally we would have a joyful intro, but unfortunately, not only did the wrestling world, but the music world as well, lost an icon, lost a legend. Earlier today, it was reported that the world lost Ozzy Osbourne. At 76 years old, the man who got coined the phrase as Prince of Darkness, with so many hits as Crazy Train, See You on the Other Side, Mama, I'm Coming Home, and so much more. Everybody here at the Around the Ropes radio show wants to give our condolences to Sharon Osbourne and the entire Osbourne family on their loss. And tonight's show is going to be dedicated to the life and career of Ozzy Osbourne. And now for a brief 10 bell salute. Thank you. Sorry, I just played it a second time. But yes, guys, like I said, tonight's show is going to be dedicated in the life and career of Ozzy Osbourne, who, I'm going to be honest, we had the show planned out much differently up until about 2:30 this afternoon, when news broke that we lost an icon, we lost a legend, we lost somebody who, let's be honest, he is the reason why a lot of us are into that type of music. Just bear with me one second as I am just trying to share this show out, so then that way we can get people to watch and participate. Especially, I'm sure to everybody tonight, just because that's how big of a show I felt that this was tonight. Because of the fact, I mean, you look at the greats in the music world. I know this is a pro wrestling. I'll explain a little bit more why this is being talked about tonight. But you look at the greats, and you got guys like Lemmy, guys like Ozzy. I mean, just go down the list. It's insane. And people don't realize Ozzy has had a bit of a part when it comes to the pro wrestling world. People forget that. Ozzy was the manager for the British Bulldogs when they won the tag team titles at WrestleMania 2. He was their manager. So you have that. I mean, we all know since WWE started doing the War Games on the main roster, we all know the song that they've used. It's been the same song for the last probably a couple of years now, and that is War Pigs. Now, throughout the night, obviously we'll talk about, our favorite Ozzy songs, even Black Sabbath, because they are the same band, but we also want to make a mention. At 8:15 tonight, from the world of Brii Combination, the head of Queen of the North, Nahir Robles returns to the show to talk about her upcoming tag title match. And I also know she has some stuff going on with Main Event Wrestling as well, another great partner of ours. So we have that coming up. But guys, like I said, tonight's show is about the life, career of the great Ozzy Osbourne. So, like I said, when news broke, wait, what the heck's going on here? Hold on. There we go. Okay. News broke, like I said, about 2:30 or so this afternoon. And at first, I'm going to be honest, at first I found out about it from Buffalo Bobby, who I do the I-86 Sports Show with. Or at least we're going to start doing that again come the fall. And I thought it was a hoax at first. And I called Amanda. I was on the phone with Amanda for a bit. And it's funny. If I figured anybody would have commented tonight, David, it would have been you. And I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm saying that to be truthfully honest. He goes, "Hey, John, well, what can I say? All I can say is I'm literally devastated. I was a fan of Ozzy since my teens. I love the rock/metal scene, and Black Sabbath was one of my favorite rock bands, along the likes of Motorhead and Metallica. A sad loss indeed." Yes, exactly. This was something that like I said before, it absolutely stunned me. And if you go back to his concert he had back in a couple weeks ago, I mean, I hate to say it, but he didn't look too good. Let me put it that way. He did not look too good. By the way, also, guys, please share this show. Show your friends, your family what we talk about here. Obviously, next week we will go back into talking more pro wrestling and everything, but I figured tonight we had to come on here and talk about the Prince of Darkness himself. A guy, mind you, who is responsible not only for basically being the manager for British Bulldogs, but also being responsible for one of the greatest entrance theme songs, War Games, War Pigs. I mean, just that riff alone. I mean, a lot of people, even if you're not a diehard music fan, and you're not somebody who, is very big into music, you know who Ozzy Osbourne is. And I've made the joke now for a while. If you're listening to Ozzy Osbourne on your phone, on your radio, wherever you listen to music, there's only one way you can listen to him. And that is strictly by basically blasting the best way to put it, you blast the sound, open all the windows, and just go. Ozzy is not the type of person that you can play on a volume of 1, a volume of 2. No. That's what you do. That's what if you're in your car and you take the dial, you turn it all the way up. But guys, also, if you have any memories tonight of Ozzy, we will definitely, you are allowed to comment them. If you want and you'd like to hop in here for a bit to call in, we can definitely do that for you guys as well. Whatever you guys want to do, like I said, tonight's show is in commemoration of Ozzy and what he's done, not only for the rock scene, but what he's also done for the pro wrestling. I mean, he is a WWE Hall of Famer. He got inducted in 2021. So, like I said, he does have a bit of a part. And we don't know Triple H is a diehard wrestling fan, a diehard music fan. So he has that. But when you look at, you look at a guy like Ozzy. I mean, there's really nothing that else can be said. He is. Thanks, David. David said, and anyone who was wondering, Ozzy was also a WWE Hall of Famer. So, yes, there is also a wrestling connection there. David, again, thank you. But like I said, if you want to join, or let's say you want to contribute, you definitely can. I also have to give a shout out to a channel on SiriusXM, and that is the Ozzy channel, channel 38. When the news broke earlier today about the passing of Ozzy, the first song they played, or the first song that I remember them playing, was "See You on the Other Side." And after the news broke, and you're listening to the song, "See You on the Other Side," it really, it for the world of music, and David, if you're watching, David, I know you're watching this. You can tell me if you agree or not. Losing somebody like Ozzy Osbourne is like losing somebody like Michael Jackson, losing somebody like Prince. That's how big of a deal this is. And this is, there's nothing else I can say. It's one of those things. I think these off are annoying the crap out of me, But there's really nothing else to say. Like I said, also, Nahir Robles from Brii Combination will be on with us in about a couple minutes. I know she has a big tag title match coming up next Thursday. So we got that coming up. Let me just give you guys a quick programming note as well. We also have coming up this week Joe Bellini, Warriors of Wrestling coming up. We also have HC Lope from ECW coming up on Thursday. Next week, we have Kevin Nasser joining us. Tristan Laws joining us. Talking about rock and roll, friend of the show. Yeah, he was our first ever guest we had on 4 years ago. But the one and only Orlando showed us, because Orlando has a book coming out right now, so we'll definitely talk about that. Obviously, we'll have all your pro wrestling talk. And also, we get later on, I'll see if I can pull the photo. But there's also something funny that I have to talk about because, yeah, it's just certain things I never had on my bingo card for 2025 when it comes to pro wrestling. One of them, obviously, is what happened today with Ozzy. But another one, I'll get to it later on. It's actually kind of funny. But like I said, we got Nahir coming up in a couple minutes. Guys, like I said, if you have any comments you want to leave on the passing of Ozzy Osbourne, just leave them. You can leave them in the comments below. Obviously, guys, we're live on Facebook and YouTube tonight. If you catch, if you can't catch the live show, you can only catch the replay of it. You can catch the replay of it on Saturdays on Odyssey through Backstage Radio Network and through She Real Radio as well. Also, if you can't catch it through that, the video will be up on our Spotify page, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcast. You don't want to miss it. But guys, like I said, this Thursday, I think we're also going to have another installment of Around the BCW World. I still have to get clarification from Mr. Cole to exactly what we're going to be doing on that show this week. But like I said, as far as Ozzy, we got another comment coming in here from David saying, it amazed me how Ozzy was performing until the end. It was just a few weeks ago. He did his final concert. What a man. Yes, no, I completely agree. And David, that's the concert I was referring to earlier when, if you were watching him in that concert, he didn't look the same. He looked like, and I hate to use this word, he looked like a shell of himself. I hate to say it, but I think it's a God's honest truth. And I mean, unfortunately, we can't play the video right now because of copyright, but if you go to Google or you go to YouTube and type in his performance of Mama, I'm Coming Home, you can hear it in his voice that it was his way of saying goodbye. I mean, we've seen videos, David, you can probably test this better than anybody. We've all seen Ozzy Osbourne live on YouTube and stuff like that, and the crowd's like headbanging and all that stuff. And this one, basically, there was not a dry eye in the house. It was insane. The legacy, the impact that this guy had. And I'm not saying anything to be wrong here, but I think it's the God's honest truth. I think when you look at the Mount Rushmore of musicians, and there's very few, and again, guys, I know we're more pro wrestling, but I just want to bring this up. There's very few musicians who have the ability to have not only a successful solo career, but also be in a successful band. But actually, it's kind of funny, though, because you think about it, it actually kind of works out in pro wrestling. Because how many times have we seen it already? We have a guy, perfect example, Triple H, had a Hall of Fame worthy singles career. But look what he did when he was in groups, when he was with Evolution, when he was with DX. Look at Ozzy, it's the same thing. Ozzy by himself was incredible. Ozzy with Black Sabbath was insane. And you're going to hear this a lot tomorrow, I feel like, with other shows and other stations who are going to talk about it. The loss, this is not just some singer died, This is something much, much bigger. And I think that's the best way you can look at it. Again, guys, Nahir Robles will be joining us in a few minutes. David Trenton goes, he sat down towards the end of the concert, but still went on despite how weak he was. But yes, David, I completely agree with you. He was somebody, and this is the only way I can describe this. He is somebody who basically lived life to the end. And that's the only way that you can describe that. Wasn't any other way. And what that guy was able to do is, I mean, it's a force to be reckoned with. It really, really is a force to be reckoned with. And like I know, guys, I know we have Slammiversary and everything else, and all that stuff. We'll get into that stuff after Nahir comes on. But I wanted to at least commemorate the first 15, 20 minutes or so to. But guys, again, even though we're going to go into more of the pro wrestling stuff here in a second, definitely keep the comments coming in. Definitely keep the conversation going on all of our social medias. You can follow us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube. If you're listening to the show on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever, definitely give us a rating. Give us a 5-star rating, please. I appreciate that. Definitely recommend us. Let your friends, family, know what you guys listen to here. Because I'm saying this for a while now. This show is not getting to the levels that it's gotten to without you guys. Without guys like David. You go down the list. The Front Row Mafia, got to give them a shout out. Ryan Peterson, give him a shout out. Without the fans and without the help, this show is nothing. This show is absolutely nothing. And this is something that, it's going to, believe me, it's going to take a while, and it's going to be, there's a lot of moving parts behind the scenes for this, and there's a lot of stuff that we have coming up that I can't even talk about yet. And when I do, believe me, you're not going to want to miss it. And despite what some people think, I'm doing it for the one reason, and that's to better the show, to give the show momentum to where it's come from, to where it's been, to where it's going. Will this show become something much bigger? Who knows? Time will tell. But guys, definitely, I want to get the hashtag going out there. We want ATR. If you guys are listening right now and you're listening on a radio station, definitely push for. Like I said, I want to try to get more eyes on this show as much as I can. And guys, like I said, coming up after Nahir is on with us, we'll get into Slammiversary. I was very fortunate enough to be in the building Sunday night for, like I said, the returns of AJ Styles, Bully Ray, and just the whole scenery that night. It was insane. So we'll get into that. I also want to touch a little bit on WWE before we wrap things up for tonight. And we still have time. We still got a little bit of time to go. But especially the fact that now we have new number one contenders for the tag titles. And our guest is here right now. So let me bring her on. Guys, our guest, she is returning. And as of next Thursday, I think will be one half of the next BCW Tag Team Champions. Welcome back to the show, the one and only Nahir Robles. Nahir, thank you for joining us. Welcome to the show.
Hi, I'm so sorry. I just ran.
You are good. You are good. But how have you been? I know it's been a little bit of time since we've had you on.
I'm sorry, what?
I know it's been a little bit of time since we've had you on.
It has, wow, it's been a while.
It's been a while, but I want to get, obviously you have Brii Combination coming up next week, and I want to kind of dive right into it. How are you feeling going into such a major opportunity, basically going for gold here?
So to me, this is the opportunity the Major League Blondes need right before we head to our UK tour in August.
Now, how big of this would this be big for you guys if you guys would get the win? Which I still, like I said before, I still think you guys are going to get the win.
let's like fingers crossed we give our best and we win. For us, winning that title would cement us as a legitimate tag team in the women's division. I don't think there's many women tag teams right now, at least in the independent scene. Like now, like little by little, they're starting to come in, right? They're starting to show up. So winning a title as the Major League Blondes head to the UK, it means everything. It means that we'd be able to bring that title and defend it. Maybe in the companies we're gonna go. It means that we are the real deal uh, in women's wrestling and tag team wrestling. And I think we've come a long way ever since we had our first match back at BST in 2024. And with so little time, we've already had at least like 10 to 15 matches together as a tag team. So I feel like we're ready. I feel like those titles need to be defended more often. And both Emily J and Journey Burke are great single stars, and so are we. But I feel like we got the Latin flavor, the spice, the cohesion to make this tag team be more, we just work. We just
And
work together really well.
no, I remember seeing that when you guys were in when you guys did the tag team match at VPW a couple
Mm-hmm.
where you guys I think it was Even Stevens.
Yes, it was.
So you guys definitely have the cohesion there. It's actually funny we bring up Even Stevens quick. I just want to make a quick mention. You know Ryan Peterson, right? The ring
Mm-hmm.
announcer.
Mm-hmm.
Bring up the Even Stevens here. I just have to bring this up. He's actually set to make his debut
On Friday.
on Friday. Yes,
I know.
I had to bring it up. I know he's not on tonight, but I definitely told him that, and I laughed because when I brought it up to him, and I said, "Oh, we're going to promote the show." I said, "But we're going to promote specifically your match." And he turned
We
around.
have to.
He goes. In all the years I've been telling you to promote Creative Pro, he goes, "Now you're going to start promoting." I go, "Of course."
It was long-term storytelling. Now I'm curious who his tag team partner is gonna be. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you.
Well, I can assure you one thing, and I've had a lot of people message me. It's
Mm-hmm.
not me. I can tell you right now, I'm not his tag team
Boo!
partner. I am not his tag team partner. I've had
Come
quite a
on,
few,
Bobby Orlando. You know better. Make this happen. 'Cause
but I guess if he's watching now, obviously you faced Even Stevens before.
I have.
What advice would you give Ryan, especially first match, but against a team that you know quite well?
Even Stevens are great. Like, I feel like it's because of them that we pushed our limits into making us, the tag team that we are. And they just make it seem so effortlessly. And remember, not only do like they have the same matching outfits, they even have the same actual name. That's crazy. So
But
my advice to you, just be careful when they try to, do the best in the world because it hurts. Just avoid getting hurt and steal and try to steal a pin whenever you can. The point is to win, not to make like a big move. Just win it. Prove them wrong and win.
guys, again, catch Creative Pro this Friday in Lynbrook. I just had to mention it. I know he's because I put out a post about it on Facebook, and I said, "Yeah, you had Hogan and Flair. You had Hogan and Andre back in the day. You had Hogan and Rock back in the day. You had Steamboat and Macho Man. No, the greatest match of all time will be happening this Friday."
Yes, definitely. I agree with you 100%.
As I said to Ryan when I saw him Sunday night on TNA, I said that match will get 7 stars from Dave Meltzer.
It has to. If not, we riot. We'll fight. We'll fight him.
But I just want to go back to something. You mentioned something before with the tag belts for a second. You said that they have to be defended more. And I actually agree with you on that. And I've been saying that about, and again, I know I work with Brii Combination, but I've said it, I've been very vocal about those tag belts because I feel like, we constantly see the Grand Dragon title being defended. We constantly see the world title being defended.
The women's championship got defended at the last show I was at.
Yeah.
All the belts but the tag team belt were defended.
And I've said it for the longest time. If you're a champion, you should be defended, and especially a champion at an independent company in Jersey. I'm not talking about, and again, I'm not trying to make say negative about independent wrestling, but it's a little different being an independent company in New Jersey compared to like the Midwest or like some
New
small.
Jersey has so many companies. Like, for that reason itself, you should be able to make your company stand out. I completely agree. Like, whenever you can, when you're a champion, you're a fighting champion, whether it's in your home promotion, which is Brii, or if you got the opportunity and the seal of approval to defend it somewhere else, like like the Warriors title. I've had the opportunity. I defended it in Ground Zero Wrestling on April 19th, the week after, like 2 weeks after I beat Vicky for that title. Then a month later, I defended it in Espírito Pro Wrestling Dojo. Then I defended it in Pro Wrestling Magic, like the week before. And then after like 3 months of absence, I come back to Warriors and I defended it this past weekend. Like, whenever you have the opportunity to showcase this belt, this honor that you have to represent your company, take it. Like, don't be afraid to be bold, and even though it's another promotion, like I feel like I know this is like a big how do I say this, like a taboo thing when we talk about multiverse wrestling multiverses,
Yeah.
but sometimes it works. Sometimes the depending on the way you tell the story, it works. And I feel those titles, because it's Brii Combination Wrestling, that they don't like, no title has like gender, but the women's title, no title has like a gender specified to them.
No, I completely agree. We have some comments coming in. So let me pull the comments up. The girlfriend's checking the show out tonight.
Oh,
Hi, Mika. And it's actually funny. Somebody else you know quite well, owner and promoter of Main Event Wrestling, is watching
I'm
this.
actually going there this weekend, and miraculously not a triple threat, but a fatal four-way.
Okay, and then I mentioned before about the UK stuff. We actually have a fan of our show who lives in the UK.
Oh my god. Okay, so I'm gonna spill it. You heard it here first. So I was literally just talking to Storm today because I wanted to know the dates for sure. So August 14, we're wrestling in Ultimate Pro Wrestling. August 15, we're in Scotland. I have to look for the name because she told me it's CPW. August 16, we're at no, yeah, that one's CPW, and then the 16 is PCW UK. The 16, the 17, it's Scotland again. We're gonna go back and forth. Then the 22nd, it's currently on hold. I'm currently waiting on a response from a company in the UK. But the 23rd is our biggest one because we happen to be at Pro Wrestling Eve.
Wow. Wow, that's like the sort of the big leagues, so to speak.
It is. Like, I'm still in shock. I'm still like completely honored the fact that, you know, they said yes to us. I'm just very happy that even though we're not there for like a long time, that we get to go to such amazing places and get to wrestle like a lot of different people. Like, I love wrestling different people. That way I push myself to limits every time.
No, I believe me, I've seen you wrestle plenty of times now, and I completely get it. But going back to Brii here for a hot second,
Mm-hmm.
over to Main Event Wrestling, I look at it as if you don't defend the title, it becomes a paper title almost. And again, I'm talking from somebody who's a fan, but I've gotten I think differently than the regular fans do. And I'm putting that
Mm-hmm.
in quotes because of the fact of I'm I'm always listening to different people talk, and I'm always listening to when the wrestlers are putting stuff together, or like if I'm watching a show and it's happened even watching some of your matches, and I'm like, okay, I see where they're going there, and then like I'm very good at trying to connect the dots. Okay, how do
Mm-hmm.
you point A to point D, but go through the rest of the alphabet.
Mm-hmm.
But I've said it before though about those tag belts, so it's not like we're saying anything new here. Not here. The one thing, I mean, you know this with us already at this point. We don't sugarcoat it. We say it as is.
But like, I'm also gonna say like they did like the last time they were supposed to defend it was back in March when unfortunately
Yeah.
Vince Steele passed away. So like, I'm gonna give them like, I don't know how you guys say that the word. Like I can also be understanding because they were supposed to defend it back in March.
Oh no, I believe me. I get
Like,
it. I,
oh,
no, I
no,
get
you're
it.
fine, you're fine.
No, go ahead.
Because imagine like something like so shocking happened right before your eyes. I understand why it would take you like a bit to process to go back. Like, this is no shade to anybody. Everybody process differently. Um, so I respect that.
And I completely agree with what you're saying. And when it comes to circumstances, I completely get it. And going back to that show in March, I completely understand everybody acting the way they did. I believe me, I still have flashbacks to that day, being in that building. And I've said this story before, and here I'll say the story again. Amanda was with me that day, and Amanda was the one who actually called 911
Oh my
when
god.
she went down. And we didn't know anything about it because I was downstairs doing some stuff for the new program they have, which is the Come Unknown Leave Unforgettable match.
Hmm.
And it wasn't until, and obviously you've been in that building before, so you know exactly. You know how the bar area kind of connects to the back of the
Yeah.
locker room. All of a sudden, somebody came running down and saying, "Somebody just called 911. They think Vince is having a heart attack." And the first thing that went through my mind, not only obviously was what was going on in the ring,
Hmm.
was I wanted to make sure Amanda was okay because I know she can get a little, and I get the fact with what happened, you can get a little startled. But I didn't see her at first. I was kind of in the mentality of,
Hmm.
the heck is she? So I get what you're saying. And circumstances wise, I get it. But I want to just move ahead here because obviously you have that coming up next week. But coming up this weekend, main
Hmm.
event wrestling, Fatal
Yes.
Four. What's going through your mind? Obviously, it's yes, it's again 4 people in the ring, but you're not. It's not like with the tag team that you're gonna have next week. It's every person for themselves. Does your approach change when it's a fatal 4-way compared to when it's a tag?
Depends on my opponent. Particularly, there's one particular person in this match who I am very fond of, and that is Chantal. I actually met Chantal like I didn't even I had like at least like 3 matches in, 4 matches in, and we met in Tennessee. And she's from Canada, so I don't know if you guys know this, but there's no Target in Canada. There's no Target in Puerto Rico either.
Oh,
So, and we stayed at a hotel that was walking distance from a Target. So we had a Target song walking the Target. We had a whole song just like at 10 p.m. just singing about Target. So like, and I haven't seen her like in such a long time, but like every time I think of Tennessee, I think of that really fond memory with her. And I've talked to her here and then. So the fact that when I saw her on the card, I got mad excited. But like, yep, Chantal, see, he knows, he knows. So the same quote I used when I wrestled Metro, the infamous Harry Potter quote from the when Dumbledore gives the 10 points to Neville.
mm-hmm. I
It
remember.
takes real strength to stand up to your enemies, but it takes bigger to stand up to your friends. So I
Yes,
feel this match is about that. It's about proving myself to these 2 people that I've never met in my life, but I'm about to, and I know we're gonna make magic in the ring. But most importantly, to prove to Chantal how much I've grown as a wrestler ever since the last time we met.
No, I completely get what you're saying on that, and that does speak volume. Last couple questions I got before we wrap things up here. Obviously you've done shows. Obviously Dynasty, I know, and I definitely want to ask you about Dynasty in a second because I know there's gonna be some people watching us who are from the Dynasty clan, and I know they're gonna want me to ask this question: when are you returning to Dynasty?
That's something I want to. I loved being a Dynasty. Like first time and second time, like I felt like at home. Um, and now that there's a recently crowned women's champion, I want to see what she's defending
Oh,
because I'm calling dibs because I won 2 matches back to back.
wait. If I'm hearing right, are you calling out the Dynasty Women's Champion right now?
Yes.
Guys, Chris Envy or, Billy or anybody who's just listen, Nahir just called out the champion. So you might want to get on that.
I'm calling dibs.
But because like I said, I know a lot of people are going to want you, but being that you've done shows obviously in Jersey, Albany, Maine, and many other places, do you notice a difference in the crowds at all?
Okay, this is gonna be like I guess a taboo answer because this has whenever I've gone to places that they're more like how do I say this? I think the word is city. Yeah, the cities in the States, right?
Yeah.
Whenever I go to a city that's like a little bit like too far from like what it's known, for example, like not I've never had that issue in New York, but like let's just put an example. Like random state, mention random state here. The state is mad huge, and I'm in New York, and I have to drive 5 hours for a state that's like in like I'm gonna use the example. Screw it. I'm in New York. Whenever I go to Pennsylvania, that's like a 2 hour drive. If I have like a show that's like a state like Pennsylvania, for just to give one state for example, and I have to drive deep, um, I get um, I get like a constant fear because I'm Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
So, and it already happened. I was at a show and I received my first racism remark because I come out with the flag. So I know not everybody is like this, but like I feel like that sort of got like imprinted into my head. But thankfully, and I'm very humbly, I'm grateful about it. A lot of the places that I've gone have given me a total different reaction, and I respect that. I was surprised. Like I've never been to Maine. Like I've been to Maine once, and back in March, and it was so different. Like distance wise from where I was, Let's Wrestle, distance was huge. So the fact that when I went there and people knew who I was like flabbergasted. I was like, what? So the fact that that happened, and not only that, the fact that they didn't know who to cheer for.
That's a good thing.
Like I love the fact that even though I have that little fear, like because of that experience, I love that whenever I go to a different town, that I feel like energies they're very similar. And I just think in general in the United States, I feel like people respect the performers. People just respect the art of wrestling. Nah, people just respect the art of wrestling. And thank you for every show that I've gone to. Thank you for proving that little fear wrong.
Wow. I totally get it. Trust me, I do. Because, again, not speaking from somebody who's a wrestler per se, but I mean, I travel far for shows. I've
Mm-hmm.
traveled to Philly, all the way to Philly for a show, and I traveled all the way up to Albany.
I
And
think it's hilarious that you're from Long Island and you go a lot to Albany. That's because that's a big drive. Like, and I respect that. That's
yet
how
there's
much shows mean to you, and I think that's something very admirable from you.
because I look at it this way. I enjoy going to these shows. It's something different, and I look at it this way. It kind of I look at it as it's kind of a escape, so to speak,
Hmm.
where I get to go. Where yes, I'm not going to WWE and spending $1,000, $16,000 to get ringside seats. But if I can go to a dynasty show or go to wherever, spend $20, $30, get a second or third row seat and watch good wrestling. I mean, not here, you know this. We've had, the discussions already. I'm very big in storytelling. That's my
I,
big thing is if I'm going to spend money on the show, which is why I go up to Dynasty or to Immortal or to Brii Combination, if I'm going to go that far for a show, I want it to be worth my money. I want it to be. There's always that term that we hear in pro wrestling: emotional investment. And as a fan, that holds dividends to me. Where if I'm going, let's say 4 or 5 hours for a show, getting up at the crack of dawn to travel that far, and a lot of times when I go for these, a lot of times the promoter will turn around to me and say, "Hey, would you mind stopping here and picking up this person or pick up this person?" I'm like, "Okay, that's fine. I don't care."
back in February, like you say it there, just say it. He literally said, like he picked me up, he picked somebody else up.
Yeah, and would I do it again? Absolutely. In a heartbeat. I would do it again. I would do it 100 times if I had to. Because even though I'm not in the industry, so to speak, and I've never claimed to be somebody in the industry, I feel like sort of vicariously I kind of am, if that makes sense.
You're like, I feel like you don't want to like say that you are, but if it makes you feel like better, like I think you're like an honorary member because of this platform that you give people to tell the stories, to tell their wrestling, to talk about the promotion. Ah, you gotta go to main event in wrestling now. There's no coming back from here.
And then even, Amanda agrees with me. But
Man,
like I said, when I started this show, and we'll wrap up with this in a second here, when I started doing the show 4 years ago, and I started becoming more involved with independent wrestling, I noticed there was a lot of, I mean, you know this, there's 800 wrestling podcasts out there, 800 wrestling shows out there. And everybody talks about WWE, AEW, TNA, Ring of Honor, but nobody talks about independent wrestling and gives them. Oh, let me rephrase that. I don't want to say there isn't because there are some, but they do like one interview and that's it. I
mm-hmm.
will devote shows to independent wrestling, and that's always been, I look this way. If I can give these companies like Main Event, like Brii Combination, that platform where, yeah, it may not be that many people, but all it takes is one person.
If there's anything I've learned is that word goes around. So like maybe like you feel you're not doing much, but you are. Like I think the first time I heard about Dynasty was because I saw one of your shows. I don't remember who it was that you interviewed. Um, so I feel like that's something worth mentioning. It like sometimes we'll be like just scrolling and then we hear the show and then you get curious like I'll always talk about, for example, like my wrestling school. Like I'm surprised like people like from the States know about my wrestling school. It's like what? Or like this thing I'm doing right now with Ground Zero Wrestling, like they just started getting women and I feel honored on the fact that they've allowed me to help them as much as I can, even though I haven't been able to actually be there. So you like same thing as you, it takes one person and from that goes a long way.
And I
So
appreciate that a lot. That means a lot. And that's what I try to do. I don't try to do this to people sit there saying, oh, John has an ego. I don't do this for that. I do this for the fact of I can have nobody watching, I can have hundreds of people watching. But if all of a sudden something like what you just said before, you never heard about Dynasty, and you happen to just scroll through and see somebody I was interviewing, and all of a sudden look at what you're doing now. I mean, you just called out the Dynasty Women's Champion. So
I
I
mean, the women's champion is a freaking legend. We gotta give her flowers.
oh, absolutely, absolutely. But again, when you become the champion, you turn up. You turn from being the hunter to the hunt to you're not
To
the
the
hunter
hunted.
to the hunted now, and you got the target on your back. So, Tina, if you're watching this, there's a Puerto Rican out there who might come by and take that belt, but not here. Again, I've said this before, but I'll say this again. I'm very proud of what you've done so far and where your career continues to go. You know that anytime you want to come back on, you're always welcome.
I appreciate that, and thank you so much for like letting me talk about the UK thing, because I'm very excited about it. I'm still like rasping my head about the fact that we're going. I don't think I processed it yet, and like maybe we go to the UK with the Brii titles. Like that's something that might be in the cards.
Yeah, you never.
So
As I've learned being in this industry, never say never.
exactly.
But not here. Definitely want to have you on again. Maybe we'll have you on again after the UK tour, kind of get your reflection.
Oh yes, I would love that. Thank you.
Absolutely, and like I said, the door's always open for you. And it's actually funny, mention also you're the Warriors women, Warrior Wrestling Women's Champion. I have to say that correctly.
Sports and wrestling, yeah.
Joe Bellini's actually gonna be on with us tomorrow night.
Look at that, Joey. He's a character. You're gonna
Yes,
love him. He's a character.
yes. I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be a lot of fun. But not here. I'll let you run again. Where can the fans connect with you on social media? And if you want to just announce everything again quickly, go right ahead. The floor is yours.
Okay, so social media, you could find me Instagram, the Facebook. You look for my name, Nahir Robles, and Instagram and X or Twitter, however you guys want to call it. It's Rizos y Sarcasmos. I'll just spell it out: RIZOSYSARCASMOS, which just literally means curls and sarcasm because curls. But if you just write my name, it shows up as well. Thank you so much for having me. I hope to see you guys on July 26th at Main Event Wrestling and July 31st at Brii when the Major League Blondes get Major League Gold. August 1st at this is the new one, CEP in Long Island. It's a Friday show. If you haven't in the Riverhead, if you happen to be available. And August 2nd, I'm gonna go to PA. I'm trying to remember all the shows I have next, like before the UK tour. August 9th, I'm double shotting. I'm wrestling Stan Styles at IWA Vintage in New Jersey, and then I'm gonna go to PPW, Pennsylvania Premier Wrestling. Maybe I'm gonna wrestle Sammy for the 7th time because Sammy has been the opponent that I've had the most in the US. That's been a running joke she and I have. And then on Sunday, August 10th, maybe I'll finally reclaim for the first time ever, the Fire Women's Championship, where I'd be wrestling Riley Crow and Priscilla Kelly.
Definitely, definitely check out Nahir's social medias. Wherever she is, definitely go check her out. She is one of the brightest stars and somebody who, when you see her, you're going to get a decent match. Again, Nahir, thank you again for joining. I appreciate it a lot. And I will definitely look forward to what you have coming up. And like I said, after the UK tour, the doors
We're
open.
back, and we're going from the UK tour to the Reflection tour. I like this.
Again, Nahir, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Guys, Nahir Robles, and then let me just do some quick work here behind the scenes. All right, and then guys, like I said, we'll just do wrap things up here in a couple minutes. Again, guys, I appreciate everything that was said. That meant a lot. Um, like I said, coming up tomorrow night, we got Joe Bellini coming on from Warriors of Wrestling. That's gonna be a fun interview. Thursday night, we have HC Loke coming on, formerly of ECW, does some work with Excite Wrestling, and he has a new company that started, so we'll have him on. Next week, we got Orlando coming on, Tristan Laws coming on, Kevin Masters coming on, so much more. Quickly, I want to just give, I know last night I had Amanda Fuentes on. We kind of did a recap of TNA's anniversary. Quickly, I just want to give overall a fantastic experience, top to bottom. I want to give Ross Foreman, who is the head of the media, a huge thank you for helping us. But we didn't really talk about this last night, but I did promise I would talk about this right now quickly. The UBS Arena, the box office people. I get the fact that you guys were, caught off guard by the amount of people that were there. I get it. But you guys could have handled that, I think, a little bit better than you guys did. Because you guys were sending everybody this, which way and out. You guys were, it became very chaotic, and it should not have been. And also, we went up to the desk, and we gave her the name and everything, and the tickets were there. But I think what happened was, and I said this before, people were getting very overwhelmed by what happened. That was the only hiccup really of the night. Everything else was a freaking blast. If I had to give favorite matches, I loved the opening match, Mustafa Ali and Cedric Alexander. I loved Tessa and Indy. I loved the Fatal 4-Way. I thought Moose and Leon Slater was great, especially AJ making his return. The place popped, even though we all knew he was coming. The fact that we're going to get Hardys and Team 3D in October at Bound for Glory is insane. The main event, I was kind of iffy on, because the problem is, if you had the opportunity, especially the fact that JC Jane won the women's title, you have the opportunity to make a moment, to etch a moment in the history of TNA. I'm not saying to put the belt on Joe Hendry. You could have put the belt on Mike Santana. I don't think anybody would have had a problem with it, and you would have left the fans going home happy. That was my only critique on the entire night, was the ending. I don't understand why. I mean, I get the fact why. I'm not going to say I don't get the fact. I get the fact why, because it adds that cross appeal with the NXT WWE partnership right now. But I don't understand the point behind it. Now here's the issue. Both the TNA World Title and the Women's Title are both held by NXT stars. So what is that doing now for the mindset of the locker room, knowing that the biggest title they have singles-wise, let's go to call a spade here, is freaking Steve Macklin's international title right now. Because they don't have the TNA World title, and they sure as hell don't have the women's title right now. So now I don't know where this is going to lead to. And Amanda Fuentes kind of hinted at this last night. You got to wait and see. I know this weekend they're doing tapings they're doing tapings up in Rhode Island and all that stuff. David chimes in here quickly and goes, I never got to see Slammiversary, but I saw the clip where AJ Styles showed up with his OG music. Whenever Get Ready to Fly hits, I get goosebumps. Yeah, David, it definitely sent goosebumps through the building that night. Guys, again, definitely go check out TNA Wrestling if you can. I know they have the tier programs right now through the YouTube page, so you definitely want to go check out TNA. I've said this for a while now. Some of the best wrestling you'll get is TNA Wrestling. And I actually kind of agree with something Eric Bischoff said in the Ariel Helwani interview that he did that dropped, I think, yesterday, where he said TNA by this time next year could be the definite number 2 company in when it comes to promotion. And I definitely can see that. The momentum they have right now is insane. You have a company that it's been a solid 10 years since they've had numbers like they did. And if they continue to go out the right way and they don't go the route like AEW did, where also AEW started to go for the bigger venues, I could definitely see TNA being that number 2 company very easily. Quickly in WWE, we have new number 1 contenders as LWO are now the new number 1 contenders on Raw. Definitely a surprise. I don't know why they're not giving it to the Creed brothers, but again, what the hell do I know? But guys, we are out of here now. Again, guys, coming up tomorrow night, Joe Bellini talking Warriors of Wrestling. Thursday night, HC Loke. Next Tuesday, Kevin Nassar joins us. Then we got coming up Tristan Law coming up. We also have Orlando coming up for his book. Also, guys, I can announce August, whatever the first night of SummerSlam is, Around the Ropes will be live from the Jimmy J Watch Party and over in Farmingdale, Long Island. So definitely come out, check out the show. It's going to be a great show. Again, we'll also see you guys Thursday night for Around the BCW World with our guests. You have to wait and see. But I want to thank Nahir for joining us. I want to thank everybody in the comment section for commenting. Again, guys, tonight's show was dedicated to the Prince of Darkness himself, Ozzy Osbourne. And I'm just going to say this, my closing words here. We'll see you on the other side. Have a good night, everybody. This has been another episode of the On the Ropes Radio Show.